Ladies and gentlemen, friends, there comes a time in life when you've been hurt, deeply, painfully, and by someone you never expected. And just when you begin to heal, just when you start to breathe again, they return. Not with apologies wrapped in gold, not with healing in their hands, but simply, they return. And the question rises in your heart like a storm. Why? Why are they back after breaking me? Let's open our hearts and look beyond the surface. One, the return is not always about you often. When someone comes back after causing you pain, it's not because they've had a change of heart. It's because their world shifted. They may be lonely, guilty, or facing consequences. But let's not confuse their return with your value. Your worth isn't validated by their absence or their presence. It was always there, solid, sacred, given by the one who never left you. And two, regret is a heavy chain. Many people carry regret like a burden on their back. They walk away in pride, but return in pieces. They remember your kindness, your patience, your light. They realize the peace they once had with you, and they come looking for what they lost, not fully understanding that what they broke may never be whole again. Three, some return to reclaim control. Not all returns are born from repentance. Some come back because they see you rising, they see you healing. There's something in their spirit that resents your peace. Be discerning. Some don't want reconciliation. They want reassurance that they still have power. Don't open your door to old storms. And four, the test is in your response. The return is not your test. Your response is. Will you react in bitterness or will you respond in wisdom? Forgiveness is a powerful thing, but it doesn't always require reunion. Set boundaries with grace. You can honor your growth without reopening wounds. Wound. Five, use the pain. Don't waste it. Every return is a reminder of how far you've come. Don't curse the pain. Educate yourself through it. Learn, grow, rise. Their return doesn't mean you must repeat the cycle. Let it be the final chapter, not the first page of a sequel you never asked for. There's a deep truth that many struggle to accept when someone who hurt them comes back into their life. It's natural to want to believe their return is a sign of recognition, that they've finally seen your worth, realized your goodness, and regretted every step they took away from you. But often that's not the case. Their return isn't always about you. It's about them, about their needs, their emptiness, their timing, not your healing, your growth, or your journey. And unless we understand this clearly, we risk tying our identity to the wrong thing. When people walk away after hurting you, they often do so out of selfishness, confusion, or immaturity. And when they return, it's rarely because they've evolved into someone new. It's because they're uncomfortable with who they are without you. There's a difference, a very important one. They may have lost something in their life. They may be going through hardship, or they may be craving the peace they once experienced in your presence. That peace didn't come from magic. It came from your character, your kindness, your stability. You carried something they didn't know how to appreciate at the time. Now they come back, not because they finally understand your heart, but because they feel the weight of their own instability. You became their comfort, their safety net. They're quiet in the storm, but they never treated you like that when they had you. Their return is a search for comfort, not a tribute to your worth. The mistake many people make is assuming that someone's return is a signal of their own significance. They think that they came back because they realize they can't live without me. But in truth, many people return not because they can't live without you, but because they can't live with themselves. Guilt, loneliness, or failure drives them to reach back toward the last place they felt seen. You just happen to be that place, that person. And if you're not careful, you'll confuse their desperation for devotion. This is where discernment becomes essential. Because if we attach our value to who returns, and when they return, we lose sight of the deeper truth. Your worth was never defined by who walked away, and it certainly isn't defined by who walks back in. Your value isn't seasonal. It doesn't rise and fall with someone else's emotions. You were worthy when they left. You're worthy now that they're back. Nothing about their movement changes the truth about your identity. People often return because they miss what you brought to their life, not who you are as a person. They miss your generosity, your listening ear, your ability to calm their chaos. But missing what you do for someone is not the same as loving who you are. And if they didn't appreciate your presence before, it's likely they're romanticizing the feeling of you, not the truth of you. That's dangerous because it can draw you into a cycle where you're constantly trying to earn affection from someone who only shows up when they're low. But sometimes they don't even know why they're coming back. They're just following the pull. Regret is a heavy chain that many people carry silently. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It lingers quietly in the corners of the heart, gnawing at the mind during sleepless nights, whispering a what if, and if only when the world goes silent. People who have hurt you often carry more regret than they let on. They may never say it aloud, and they may not even fully understand it themselves, but it shows up in their actions, in their return, in their attempts to reconnect, in the way they suddenly remember your birthday or comment on a memory you shared together. It's not always love that brings them back. It's often regret. When someone walks away from you, especially after causing you pain, it may look like they've moved on. Social media may show smiles, their words may sound cold, and their silence may echo like indifference. But what people project and what they carry internally are not the same. Regret doesn't always look like someone weeping at your door. Sometimes it looks like avoidance. Sometimes it looks like hesitation in their voice. Sometimes it looks like watching your life from a distance, but not knowing how to step back in. People often act rashly in the moment, blinded by pride, ego, or the illusion that something or someone else will give them more. And when they lose you, they don't feel the weight immediately. It takes time for them to recognize the depth of your presence. Regret is slow like that. It doesn't arrive the next day. It creeps in when they realize that the grass wasn't greener, that the peace they once knew with you is now chaos, that the stability they thought was common is rare. And by the time they realize it, you've changed. You've grown. You've started healing. But they return, hoping to reach back into the past and recover what they lost. They don't always want to undo the damage. They simply want to feel something again, something familiar, something safe. Regret is rarely about the person they hurt. It's about the guilt they carry within themselves. It's a desire to quiet the unrest in their spirit, to make themselves feel better, even if they haven't taken the steps to make things right. That's the tricky thing about regret. It feels like apology, but it's not always repentance. Apology says I was wrong. Repentance says I want to be different. Many people return out of regret but aren't ready to change. They just want to feel lighter. And that's where you need to be careful. Because regret alone doesn't rebuild trust. Regret doesn't fix broken foundations. It doesn't mean they suddenly see your full worth, or that they're now capable of loving you in the way you deserve. It just means they've started feeling what they tried to ignore. And that's not enough. If someone returns simply because they miss the comfort of your presence, that doesn't mean they're ready to cherish it. Missing someone is easy. Valuing them consistently is not. That's why so many people come back, but few stay. The danger lies in confusing regret with growth. Just because someone feels bad doesn't mean they've become better. Just because they remember you fondly doesn't mean they'll treat you differently. Regret is emotion. Change is action. One is temporary. The other is tested over time. People who regret hurting you may speak with tears in their eyes, but what matters more is the path they choose once the emotions fade. Are they rebuilding trust? Are they taking accountability? Are they respecting your healing? These are the real signs of growth, not their return, but their behavior after. Regret can be powerful, but it's also selfish when it's not followed by sincere effort. Some people come back not to restore what was broken, but to relieve their own guilt. They're not looking for reconciliation. They're looking for relief. They want to know you don't hate them. They want to know they didn't lose your respect. They want closure for themselves, even if it disrupts the closure you were working toward. That's not healing. That's using your forgiveness as a bandage for their shame. And if you're not discerning, you'll open your heart to someone who hasn't earned their way back in. That's why you must remember, someone's regret does not obligate you to restart what they ended. Their pain doesn't erase yours. Their return doesn't undo the damage. And while it may feel good to be missed, don't mistake their regret for love. True love doesn't need to break you to recognize your value. True love doesn't come back only when it's convenient. So when they return full of emotion, let your wisdom guide your heart, not their regret. Some people don't return because they miss you or because they've truly changed. Some return because they see you healing, rising, becoming whole without them, and it unsettles something inside of them. It challenges the control they once had over you. Not every return is born from love or even from guilt. Some are driven by ego, by insecurity, by the need to feel powerful again. When they hurt you, they might have walked away feeling superior, thinking you'd never recover, believing they were the best thing that ever happened to you. But time has a way of revealing truths. When they see that you didn't just survive, but you're growing, glowing, evolving, that's when they return. Not to celebrate your strength, but to test it. Control doesn't always show up in loud demands or manipulation. Sometimes it's subtle. It looks like someone reaching out just when you finally stopped thinking about them. It looks like someone checking in with you, how have you been? Right after you've started smiling for real again. It's not a coincidence. It's often a calculated response to seeing their influence slip away. Some people are more addicted to your dependence on them than they are connected to your heart. And when that dependence fades, they panic. Their return isn't about mending what's broken. It's about restoring the control they once had. They may try to re-enter your life with charm, with nostalgia, with apologies that sound convincing. But underneath it, there's often a question driving them. Do I still matter to you? Do I still have a hold on your emotions? If the answer is yes, they feel powerful. If the answer is no, they may try harder, or they may walk away again, having confirmed what they came for. This kind of return is not about reconciliation. It's about ego reassurance. They want to know they can still get to you, that they can still stir something inside you. Whether it's anger, sadness, or longing, it doesn't matter. Any emotion keeps them relevant in your world. You see, when someone seeks control, they're not interested in building something healthy. They're interested in keeping you within reach just in case. Just in case they get lonely. Just in case they need validation. Just in case their other options fall through. You become a backup plan, not a priority. A familiar place they can come back to when the world is too cold. And that's not love. That's not even care. That's convenience wrapped in manipulation. Sometimes they might mask it well. They might speak the right words, say they've changed, act like they miss you genuinely. But if you watch closely, their actions betray their intent. They don't ask how they can support you. They ask what you've been doing. They don't listen to your healing. They interrupt it with stories about their suffering. They center the conversation around themselves, even while pretending to be there for you. That's because it was never about mutual growth. It was about reestablishing the upper hand. These kinds of returns often happen when your life starts looking peaceful. When you're rebuilding your confidence, pursuing your purpose, surrounding yourself with people who respect you, that's when they notice. And it's not that they want to join your growth. It's that they want to remind you of who you were when you were with them. They want to pull you back into that version of yourself that questioned your worth, that needed their approval, that settled for less. Because your healing exposes their brokenness, your progress confronts their stagnancy. And instead of rising to meet you, they return to pull you down. This is why discernment is more important than emotion. Just because someone comes back doesn't mean they deserve access. Just because they say they've changed doesn't mean they've done the inner work. Ask yourself, does their return bring peace or confusion? Do they honor your boundaries or test them? Do they uplift your growth or compete with it? The answers will reveal the truth. Because someone who truly cares won't be threatened by your strength. They'll celebrate it. They won't try to control you. They'll protect your freedom. And if someone's presence brings more chaos than clarity, then their return is not a blessing. It's a test. One that you have the power to pass. Not by letting them back in, but by recognizing that real love never demands control. It releases it.